Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
Chris, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So, okay. Well, so here's the thing. All right.
Today, when this episode goes out.
Okay. So September 22nd.
Yep. It's happening.
It's happening. Oh, it's Survivor.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. I have to tell my dad. I don't think me and him usually watch it together. I forgot about that. So what, do we know anything about this season?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about it.
We know the cast.
Okay.
Lot of very interesting people. We know that it is a 3-tribe with 6 people on each tribe. The tribes are yellow, blue, and green.
Okay, so
those three specific colors I don't think have been used ever before.
Yeah, that kind of, it's like they wanted to have like the green family almost, you know,
yeah,
where it's just like the 2 colors that make green and then green itself.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah.
We know that it's going to be, the tribes are always going to be small, so they're not going to have many big tribes.
So that's like, is it going to be like 6 per tribe?
Probably 6 per tribe at most.
Okay.
And it's starting out at 6, but when they swap later on, it may be like continue to be small.
Right. What about are they gonna have a small merge? Like, are they gonna wait a while to merge?
I don't know.
This is all speculative. Like, obviously,
right.
They're not gonna announce that. But...
I still imagine it'll probably be like an 11-person merge.
Yeah.
11. By the way, after spectating and playing and hosting a lot of different Survivor formats, 11-person merge with a final 3. Mwah. The perfect merge.
Even though it's like an even like it could be like a even vote.
Yeah, but if it's a final 3, then the third person does the tiebreaker. Yeah,
that's right. I forgot that. That's what happened in that last Survivor, that one Survivor season that happened. Interesting. Yep. And no news about the twist necessarily outside of that.
So there's going to be a monster of some kind. They haven't revealed what the monster is going to be, but Jeff keeps calling it a monster. There's also going to be some sort of Exile Island type thing.
Okay.
Where you can risk things to get idols, and I don't know what level of risk it is going to be, but it does seem to be risked in a different way than has been done before.
Okay. Interesting.
They're also, like, food is going to be a lot more scarce since they're doing it in 26 days instead of 39. So
yeah, that's interesting. And the monster thing kills me though. Like I can only picture it's like some sort of animatronic, like, there's dinosaur that just hangs out like on the shoreline. No.
Chris, you don't understand. The game is the monster.
Oh, okay. It's a metaphor at the end of the day. Yeah. I see. Well, I hope you all are looking forward to later tonight, if you're watching this when this goes up, to watch the 2-hour premiere of that. We're not sponsored or anything. We just
and then the Final Four Big Brother veto, which everyone already who is paying attention already knows because it's spoiled on the live feeds. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that Derek F probably didn't win it, but that's about it.
Yeah. I like that you've somehow, despite following what sounds like you follow like a lot of people who cover like the at least these 2 reality TV shows, that you've somehow been able to avoid the Big Brother spoilers. I appreciate that. Like I think that's a good work on your part to be able to dodge that. But anyways. Enough of that. We will maybe at some point in our lives we'll return to doing a Survivor or Big Brother podcast, but just it's not today, you know, because
not today.
This virtual ball boy shit, we got a lot of episodes that we got recorded it during the fall, because this week, my friends, you're getting an episode right now. You're listening to it, but this Sunday you're gonna get another episode. If you want to watch it live as we record it, you can tune in on Saturday on twitch.tv/Team Chaos Productions, because it is the start. Those are too sexual sounding for my comfort level. It is the season 2 kickoff of the VBBFL. And if you have no idea what the fuck that is, we will explain it to you in our mid-segment. We're going to do a little bit of a breakdown about the teams, who's on the teams, and just generally previewing what is to come in the new in our little tabletop role play football game that we've been doing since last year. So a lot of that to look forward to, and of course we'll be doing our week 3 picks of the NFL season because we're now through 2 weeks. We're two down.
Yep.
16 more to go. There's a lot of weeks in the football season. Now
more than last year.
Just one, but it does feel like it is a handful. So we'll get to those picks, but before that, we gotta talk about what happened this past week. All right. And I think it was abundantly clear that the Thursday night football game was kind of like kind of messy. It was just a messy game. It was close, but it was messy overall. I don't really want to talk about the Giants. Kind of just bummed as always when I think about the presents. And then like the 1 p.m. games or the 12 p.m. for you, Matt. Those games are those games were fine. And then came the 3:25, 4:25 games. And boy howdy, did we have some bangers in those. And I was talking to Matt beforehand, and we decided to land on game of the week, Titans at Seahawks. A game that Seattle had in their grasp. They had it. It was all there. They were 24-9 at halftime, 30-16 early in the fourth quarter. Like, they had this game in hand, and they let Derrick Henry happen. 182 yards rushing on the ground, 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, basically got the Titans to overtime, and they were able to win it on a field goal. And that's a team that's been having trouble with their kicker, so very fitting that they were able to actually win this with a kick. Your reaction, Matt, to this Titans Seahawks fiasco?
I caught the end of the game because when the game on my TV went out, I got to switch over. And at first I was looking at my fantasy lineup, and I had Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett. I was like, damn, nice game.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, fuck, the Titans are scoring again. Yeah. And then all of a sudden overtime, and I knew that once it got to overtime, it was gonna go to the Titans.
Yeah, yeah. You kind of have like that discussion about momentum, and like if whether or not you think it exists. The Titans they just had the game in the fourth quarter and in overtime, I only got to catch glimpses of this game. I had other things that were happening on Sunday, but my takeaway from this though is just like I think it's wild to me that people still think that Derrick Henry is just gonna like suddenly drop off the face of the earth, and there's a good chance he still will, because it is a grueling position to play. Running back, it's a hard thing to sustain, but dude just keeps on showing up and carrying the Titans. Like Ryan Tannehill had like a fine game. He played very well at the end of the game, but like Derrick Henry was the showstopper, and continues to be. He's just insane. We were so close for the first time ever in the NFL to have an entire division go 2-0.
God, that would have been so cool.
But Seattle blew it. It was also according to this, Seattle also had its 12-game win streak in home opener snapped. Ooh. So that dates back almost
2009.
Yeah, that dates back a decade, like over a decade ago. My goodness gracious, the Titans like had all the cards stacked against them, and they won the game. Fantastic. But like in the same vein, even though that was our game of the week, we also had Cowboys Chargers, which that was a very interesting game between Herbert and Prescott. Ultimately, the Cowboys, despite Mike McCarthy existing, came out with the victory. And then the Vikings blew it. They blew it. They were so close, and they blew it against the Arizona Cardinals. But the Cardinals, 2-0, man. They're looking spicy as always. Any thoughts on either of those games?
Yeah, I think that I really like the Cardinals this year, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if Kyler Murray stays healthy the entire year and plays the way he has been playing, he's my MVP pick.
Yeah, there's opportunity there,
and he's got the supporting cast.
Mm-hmm.
Like it used to be like DeAndre Hopkins, and then the like kind of next man up. No, when Kirk is healthy, and when it helps out the offense. They brought in they drafted Rondale Moore, who has been a boom for this offense. Even AJ Green. Yeah. Even AJ Green, who shouldn't be as good as he is right now. Like him just being on the roster helps out the team.
Yeah,
in such a good way, because you have to cover all of them, and sometimes you just can't.
If I'm not mistaken, DeAndre Hopkins didn't even have like a reception in the first half, or maybe in the first quarter. Like he was completely quiet. Yet
There's
the Cardinals. Say again.
There's a chance.
Yeah, it was that a lot of what Kyler Murray has been able to pull off. And granted, he had 2 interceptions in this game. Like it's not perfect, but
no,
he's definitely showing his playmaking skills and doing plays that are, maybe on the level of Patrick Mahomes. Like just being like, whoa, how in the world does he do that? Like he has that ability. It's just wild. They're playing such good football right now. And just really, really good games overall there. The blowout of the week was Bills and Dolphins, and I take the biggest L here. To
be fair, Tua did go out, and that's part of the reason why it was such a blowout. Why Miami didn't score anything.
Sure.
Because their offense was not ready for Brissett.
Yeah, it definitely was part of the equation, but. This is yet another game where Brian Flores' Dolphins could not beat the Bills, that he gets blown out by the Bills. Like that is just a trend. And I was thinking like, all right, new year, Bills maybe they're stumbling out of the gate, maybe they might lose their first 2 games and then pick it up later. But now the Bills were like, fuck this, we're not gonna keep. We lost to the Steelers, and we're not gonna keep losing. All right, we're gonna just dominate. Josh Allen had a big game. Zach Moss had a big game, which is funny because I think between Moss and Singletary, I think Moss is the one that people didn't think was going to be the main back, right? Like people thought Singletary would take those reins, right? Or am I misremembering?
I think Singletary was there first.
Yeah.
But I think they were just trying to work out either one and see which one would go. The fantasy consensus has been don't draft either of them.
Yeah. If you did draft Moss and you had him in any position, like just as like a third running back or flex position or whatever, 2 touchdowns for you. It just worked out for you that. But still though, that just absolutely like the Bills are back. The Bills we can get back on that train. We're feeling a little bit better about it, and obviously yes, the Dolphins. It wasn't like they beat like a juggernaut or anything, but they won in the way that you would expect a title contender to do so, and so good on them. And then the team chaos of the week: Chiefs at Ravens. Who would have thunk it, man? I mean, going into this Sunday Night Football game, we were like, oh, well, the Ravens are completely injured. And Patrick Mahomes just has Lamar Jackson's number. I mean, not really. I mean, it's not like they're on the same field at the same time. But regardless, like it just always, ever since Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes have been both starting for their respective teams, the Chiefs just had the Ravens number, no matter how good the Ravens were. And this just felt like a hopeless endeavor that we were going to go on, and a game that we did not think at all was going to be close. Instead, it was neck and neck throughout. And it led to, I think the peak of the game really was at the end, where Lamar Jackson somersaulted into the end zone, which, by the way, I'm going to just take a step back here. It's insane to me how ridiculous and the taunting rules have become, where that was not considered a taunting penalty, but like the little things of like people like doing like little hand signals or whatever is considered taunting and removes touchdowns off the board.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, you could be annoying about the taunting penalty, whatever. Don't rule the taunting penalties where they take away touchdowns. And
that is wild.
Like that's insane. Like, oh, because you're a quote unquote bad sportsman, we're gonna remove the scores off the board. Like, look, I'm a sensitive boy, okay? I don't like when people talk shit to me about anything. But I recognize that that football is an aggressive ass game. And sometimes people have a lot of energy built up that they just want to unleash. And it's also an entertainment thing. Like the NFL, you could say a lot of things about the NFL, but it is meant to be an entertainment business, and we want to be entertained as viewers. Why are you going to stop the athletes from wanting to entertain us in some way by being by taunting all the time? I don't know. Insane. That's a big problem, I think, through 2 weeks of the NFL season, that John Mara with his stick up his ass was like, hey, we don't like taunting. Taunting's bad. We're gonna enforce it more. And it just has made the game less fun to watch completely. Anyways, Lamar Jackson does that touchdown. It was amazing. But then it's like, all right, here comes the Chiefs. This is obviously going to happen. You know, they're just going to go down and they're going to kick the field goal. It's all going to be over. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire, as good of a rookie as he was last year at times, and as solid of a start that he had last week, he just dropped the ball. And literally dropped the ball. Thanks, Clyde. I would have won my fantasy matchup anyway, but you haven't been much help. Jesus. But yeah, he dropped the ball, and right as they got into field goal range, and I think Owe was the guy that got the fumble, and that was it. The Ravens won it, and no. You can't end it there because they actually won the clock out. Yeah, and rather than try to they couldn't convert on third down. If they convert on that third down, then it's over. But they get you fourth down. They get you 4th and 1, and fucking John Harbaugh comes on the field and says, Lamar, you want to go for this? And Lamar says yes. And they go for it, and they convert, and they win. Yeah, I forgot about that. Was that a good play? In retrospect, yes. Sure, it would have been probably scrutinized if it didn't work, but... Absolutely. But, hey, man, sometimes you got the cojones, and you think you can pull it off, and you do it, you get a lot of respect from people. And that's the type of thing, when you play the Chiefs, you have to make sure that the ball does not end up in Mahomes' hands. And they did it. Thinking about it that way, that is true. Yeah, exactly. I like that play. Well, one of my favorite, just really dumb pictures going around after that was, did you see the South Park clip where just the adult men in the show just have giant balls that they're carrying around in wheelbarrows? No. That's John Harbaugh. Yeah. What was your thoughts on this game overall? Oh, it was great. I loved it, and I loved that the Ravens won. I was hoping you would say more there because I was trying to take a drink of water. Oh my god, I'm sorry. No, it's okay. I was trying to toss it to you to be like, hey. Yeah, and it's amazing too that this puts the Chiefs in 3rd place. Yep. 3rd place. Yeah, that's for tiebreakers and everything. That it's not even. Yeah, not. Tiebreakers with the Chargers. Yeah, the Chargers. Yeah, they the Chiefs have a AFC win where the Chargers don't. So yeah, I initially was thinking this was dropping to the 4th place, but then I remembered that the Chargers' only win has been against the football team. So yeah, it's wild. Just absolutely. It is crazy that the 2-2-0 teams that are left in the AFC at all are the Denver Broncos and Las Vegas Raiders. Not the two you would have picked immediately. No. I mean, I'm. You and I are both high on the Broncos. Neither of us had much hope for the Raiders at all. No, season. that has changed for me. Yeah. Yeah, no, they're a better unit. They're just a better team this year than they have been. At least right now. I mean, the Raiders, we have seen where the Raiders have had these strong starts and then they just like fumble.
Yeah. Literally implode.
Yeah, like they just implode near the end of the year. So we'll see. But so far so good for the Las Vegas Raiders this year. Any other game that you want to point out and talk about?
Bears making me shit myself.
Yeah, you were texting me about that. Because Joe Burrow was basically giving that game away with his interceptions, and then
literally three interceptions in a row.
Yeah, the Bears just had to hold on for dear life. How did Justin Fields look? Because I know that Dalton went out early.
Yeah, not as good as I would have hoped.
Mm-hmm.
But also, he wasn't expecting to like have that full workload that day.
Right.
So I expect him to start against the Browns, just because I think Dalton's going to be left out. I understand a little bit what Nagy is trying to say about Dalton being like, if Dalton's healthy, he's the starter. But it feels a little bit. I don't know if it's just the way that he says it. But it just feels like he's an asshole about it.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like there's just this inherent need to feel like validated for his reasonings that he did. Like I must sit him. We must go with Andy no matter what. And like I can't be wrong about this. I must do this. I must do it this way. And it's just like, yeah, but I mean, I get it. He was there when Mahomes was on the bench, and then Mahomes came in, was great. But I feel like even if Mahomes played his rookie year, I'm sure he would have still been great. Because that's just right. Mahomes. Mahomes just has that talent. And
Fields, there was already a quarterback there. This is Andy's first year on the team too.
Right, that's the thing. Like Alex Smith had been the Chiefs quarterback for years. I mean, it's kind of wild to think about how long Andy Dalton was on that team. Like I think that he seemed like a journeyman by the end of his career, but he really wasn't. Like he was just that was like his team for many years, and so like he had the experience. And this is a totally different situation when you're leaning on a veteran who hasn't been the guy that he was with the Bengals, where he had some nice moments. It is bizarre. It's bizarre to me that they want to hold on to the veteran here, but we'll see. Maybe there'll be some changes once maybe Fields gets a start this week.
If Fields plays well, they shouldn't go back.
Right, exactly. Like that just makes so much logical sense. I don't understand. How about the Carolina Panthers?
Oh boy.
26-7 took it to the Saints.
Yeah, this Panthers team, like I feel like legitness from.
Mm.
They didn't have like the strongest first couple weeks opponents. Like I mean the first week was the Jets, but their defense has a ton of like top records, like sacks and yards allowed and points allowed, like maybe not points allowed, but just a ton of things that they're first in the league in. Shaq
Thompson's a very, very good player.
Mm-hmm.
He's he was such, like when he was drafted, he had to sit not behind, but he was a starter, but he was overshadowed by Kuechly and Thomas Davis and like that squad. And he still, even though he was still a starter, like, and he still played like relatively well, but he wasn't really noticed. This year, like, he's fucking playing on another level. Through two games, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, they have a lot of like just really good key pieces. Jeremy Chin's doing well, and I love this team, Chris. And Christian fucking McCaffrey can do everything. Their offense is getting momentum. Darnold is actually like Darnold playing competent is enough for this team, I think.
Yeah, for 100%.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the first big test for this team might not be until they're at the Cowboys. Which is in week 4. I mean, because Texans have been weirdly frisky this year, but not having Tyrod Taylor on Thursday, and we'll get to that game, but not having Tyrod Taylor this week, and he kind of was infusing that team with a lot more fun than what we thought that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this would be a friskier matchup if Tyrod was in.
Yeah.
But he's not.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rookie fourth round quarterback. So and
then give credit to Sam Darnold too, man. You've always said with Adam, anyone that's associated with Adam Gase,
as soon as they leave,
that they end up sparking, and then that Darnold Anderson connection still looks good.
This is the Adam Gase effect is the truest conspiracy theory in the NFL.
It truly is, truly at its core. All right. So we'll definitely be getting more into NFL stuff a bit later in the show. But first things first, let us talk about the VBBFL. All right, we got a so what I think just to start off. For those who are new here, who have no idea, like, what is the VBBFL? The VBBFL was a very strange idea that I came up with in February of 2020. And I was just like, what would happen if we decided just to kind of, like, start making random teams for random places in the world? And so I brought the idea to the table, and me and Matt we started adding these teams. Like, we created teams with their ideal, but like we had the town name, and then a mascot that best matches that town. And we had like a theme last year. I think was the like kind of like D&D, medieval fantasy type thing. Type names, right? And then as we kind of were deeper into it, it's like, but okay, so where do we go from here? And then what was decided was we wanted to create a league where we would have all of these teams filled with video game characters. And these video game characters would compete in a hypothetical game of American football. And in order to actually execute that, we had to do two things. We got a bunch of our friends to draft these teams. And we had our good buddy Walsh, who's on many of our TCP platforms, host Table Party, of course, and all that, come up with a rule set for us to work with in a tabletop format. And then that's how the whole thing was born. We went through one season. We had a lot of fun. And it ended with the Mansfield Weavers winning it, which was it was very dominant from them because they had like the best defense of the league. And this year we decided to turn it up a notch. We now allowed animation characters from TV, movies, cartoons, anything to be added into the rosters if you wanted to. And of course we picked 8 brand new spanking teams as well, with entirely new rosters, entirely new stats for each of those teams. And we tweaked the rules a little bit to maybe be a little bit more fair to people, to teams that are not as defensive heavy. But generally speaking, I think after we got done with statting all these teams, which we did last night, we saw that there was a lot more defensive favorable teams than last year. It felt like.
So it'll be close overall, and I'm excited to see how that kind of all plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just go into it, because we so what, just in the basic frame, and we'll explain it again when we do the episode when we film it on Saturday. But Matt, talk to the audience about what exactly, how does the VBBFL work as a tabletop game?
So basically, we have one team that's on offense, one team that's on defense. They each get the same number of tries, so 6 times total throughout the game. You will be on offense, and 6 times on defense for 12 rounds total. Both teams right off the bat will roll a D20. The offense will add their offensive multiplier. The defense will add their defensive multiplier. Not multiplier, just addition.
Yeah.
And then depending on advantages, disadvantages will which one is higher will determine the next stage, where the offense can basically elect to kick a field goal, or they can or they can try to score again. If they succeed, they get advantage on the roll. If they fail, they get disadvantage on the roll. And then there's kicking and extra point stuff as well. High score in the end wins. And we have it happen a lot where sometimes we get to the fourth quarter and finishing the game is just a formality because one team has already won.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there is some. We do have during the regular season, the finishing the game does matter because of point total ends up being a tiebreaker for records. But when the playoffs start and like the game's over by the half, we're like, all right, let's eat this in the
next
garbage.
One.
It's over. Yeah,
yep.
Next one. you know?
And all teams, it's pretty much like the entire season is to set seeding for the playoffs.
Pretty much,
because everyone makes the playoffs, and that's just how we do it because it's the best way for us.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's perfect, and it ends up, and we get to really the joy of this game, the fun of this game, really comes when we are tasked with describing what's happening, and we have a lot of different mechanics that we're kind of trying to implement on top of the football game, where it's describing like characters as they're doing the play. We also have the fact that their environment's going to come into play this year, where they're in different game situations, video game situations specifically, and the fact that we have like different balls that are being tossed around. They're not quite footballs. Some of them actually are just video game items or just cartoon famous items from cartoons. That are being used to be tossed around. It's fantastic. We have a lot of dynamics. I don't know how it all will come together. It may not be like perfect, but it's gonna be fun, and that's just we're gonna have as much fun of it as possible. Yep. So let's get into the week 1 slate, and I think what we'll do is we'll talk about the teams as we talk about those games, and let us start with the Naples Astro Gators at the Forest Hills Mothmen. And the realization that this is the first time that some viewers might be hearing these names is, well.
Okay, we're not. You know what? We're not going to explain what those team names are. Listen to our backlog over this past year, so that you can listen to how we came up with these team names.
A lot of our
they're wonderful.
Yeah, a lot of our off season has been we don't really dive. We talk a little bit about the NFL off season, but a lot of what happens in the NFL off season can be boring and tedious to talk about on a repeated basis. So we were like, let's focus a lot of our energy into building our next league, and so you'll get a lot of nice VBBFL content if you go back to listen to like the back half of season 2, essentially. All right, Let's start with the Naples Astro Gators. All right. There's a it is a team that was drafted by
my friend Jacob.
Jacob, yes. And so the quarterbacks for this team are Bandit Keith and Ash Ketchum. The running backs are Zoidberg and Preston Garvey. Wide receiver we have Scout from Team Fortress 2 and Dick Johnson, which is the name of the security guard from Secret. What is
Mr.
it from?
President. Mr. President.
From Mr. President, the video game. And then there is Krieg from Craig.
No, he's not from JoJo.
Maybe.
Is he Borderlands?
Might be Borderlands. Hold on a second.
There's some video games that he's from Borderlands. There are some video games in here and some anime that Chris and I have no idea who the fuck this is. Yes, but we will learn.
That's the fun part. We and I think the ones that we do know are going to be the ones that we have the most fun character developing them, because I'm sure there is a lot of scenarios. Like I'll point some of them out that I know I'm going to have a lot of fun with putting into random football situations. Offensive line is Craig and Doom Guy. The defense is Dio Brando and Sato Kaiba. Sato
Kaiba.
Yep. And then the kicker is Bobby Hill from King of the Hill.
Very good, Bobby.
And Liu Kang from, I believe, Street Fighter or one of those fighting games, I believe.
I believe Street Fighter.
Yeah. Which and then in terms of the stats, it's an offense of 5. So we have 3 stats, by the way. So there's 3 stats that we use throughout our tabletop process. There's the offensive stat, which is 5 for this team is 5 points. The defensive stat, which for this team is -5, and the ball handling stat, which for this team is 0. And those we will kind of explain more about how those are implemented in the game in the next episode. But your thoughts on this team?
I think it's going to be solid. I worry a little bit just having a low defense, high offense, but hopefully the offense will mean a bit more this year, and hopefully that not having such a low ball handling will also help them out, so that they don't end up like Phoenix City.
Yeah, I think again, and Phoenix City was a team that last year that was brutalized.
Yes,
in many of these situations. I think that what's going to be different this year is that because we're adding field goals into this game,
yes,
which we didn't have last year.
Which I still want to talk to you on a rule about that, but we can go into that later.
Sure. It's something that we have to kind of we might tweak a little bit, but the ultimately we wanted to kind of give an opportunity for those who succeed on offense but don't succeed on defense, giving them an opportunity to score points still if they're gonna get run on by another team. So it's definitely helpful.
Yep.
And then for you want to do Forest Hills Mothman?
Sure. So for the Forest Hills Mothman, a lot of anime.
Yes.
So I'm mainly just going to say these names because me stopping and trying to look up which each one of these people are from would take forever.
Yeah.
So quarterback by Tenhiro, running back Toph from Avatar. Wide receivers are Stella, Psyche, and Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. Offensive line Shinobu, Sora from Kingdom Hearts, and Soul from Soul Eater. Defense is Skulker from Danny Phantom, Komayata from Danganronpa, and Tsukasa. And then the kicker is Sanji, I believe, from One Piece.
Yeah, Stella's from Spiritfarer.
Yes.
The rest I'm not as familiar with. This team is interesting. They have a 6 on offense, -4 on defense, -2 on ball handling. I think might be our highest offensive stat, maybe.
Potentially.
But yeah, a very interesting team. One that I think is definitely going to be probably our hardest to describe because of the amount of characters we do not know. But
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, it'll all be good. So I think in terms of the first matchup between these two teams, Naples and Forest Hills, they are very similar teams. I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair because they both have strong offensive stats, but it looks like maybe Naples might have the edge with ball handling, but they do have a weaker defense overall compared to Forest Hills. But not by much. A lot of those stats are very close. So I think it's gonna be a close game overall.
Yeah. Did we say who this team was drafted by?
Oh yes, Jess, our friend Jess.
Yep.
Was the person who ended up drafting. That Jess was Jacob was the Brainerd Paladins last year. For those who watched season 1, Jess was the East Chicago Blacksmiths last year. So they are 2 returning owners. Next up in the this is the start of the Eastern Conference here. This is the other 2 teams.
All 4 of these are going to be the first 4 are going to be the Eastern Conference.
Yes. So the next 2 teams in the Eastern Conference who are going to be going against each other is going to be the Portsmouth Submarines versus the Suffolk Netflows. Specifically, Suffolk Netflows are going to be at the Portsmouth Submarines. And yes, we're not giving you any context for Nutfellows.
For Nutfellows, nope.
you gotta listen. You gotta listen. For the Portsmouth we'll do Portsmouth Submarines first because it's easier for this document here. We have Brock Sampson and Chef from Total Drama as the quarterbacks for this team. Running backs include Sprig and Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb. Wide receivers are XJ9 from My Life as a Teenage Robot and Jolene from, I believe, JoJo.
Yep.
Or soon to be JoJo, because Jolene has been hinted forever, as Walsh has talked about before. And Walsh is up, of course, the drafter of this team.
Yep.
And he was the Perth Amboy Privateers last year. Offensive line is May from Nine in the Woods and Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Defense is Garnett and MT. Don't know either of those. I forget what.
Garnett from Steven Universe, MT from Infinity Train.
There you go. And then the kickers are Enid, excuse me,
from Enid from OKKO.
And then Timmy's dad from My Fairly Odd Parents. And this team is 2 on offense, -A on defense. Ball handling is 6. So this is the worst defense of the bunch, but a really good ball handling stat.
Mm-hmm. Lot of really dumb fun picks with this one. I especially like Timmy's dad.
Timmy's dad's great. I love Chef as a quarterback.
Yeah, Chef and Brock Sampson being the same body type. Also, Brock Sampson being Patrick Warburton.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, we got a few Patrick Warburton characters in the VBBFL. We'll get to another one very soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, really solid team. I could always count on people just having fun with this, and Walsh is one of those drafters that I'm just like, you're gonna give us some weird shit, and I'm down for it. So very, very fun team right there.
Yep.
All right. What about the Suffolk Nutfellows?
Suffolk Nutfellows, drafted by fellow TCP host Gabe. Quarterback is Dark Samus. Running backs are Wacko from Animaniacs and Omocha from Sonic. Wide receivers are Knights and Riala from the Knights Under Dream series. Offensive line is Barry Burton, Arctozolt, and an Omega Metroid. Our defense is Chaos, Zack, and Abyss. And then the kicker is Beat, the Jet Set Radio guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and total stats, 0 on offense, 3 on defense, -3 on ball handling. In terms of, the offensive line is definitely beefy. With
yes.
Barry Byrne maybe being the smallest of the bunch. Resident Evil guy, Arctozolt, and Omega Metroid. Arctozolt, of course, from Pokemon. And then defense. Yeah, this is like, we're gonna have a run here on defensive centric players here. Where you have Chaos and Zack and Abyss. Like, all of those are just big people that are like, Chaos can be big. And then Zack and Abyss are just these big players. And also, Zack is a returning player. Zack was drafted last year from, I think it was Weatherford Sheriffs, I believe.
Yep. Was
Zack. So, yeah, just really solid group here overall. And in terms of the matchup, it is going to be offense versus defense. Who's going to come out on top? Again, we've talked about how defense kind of dominated last year. How usually a defensive centric team might win, but we'll see.
A lot of changes with the rules this year, so you never know.
Right, exactly. And I think plus a 6 on as ball handling could be lethal. Could be lethal because the ball handling is a powerful stat. So we'll see. We'll see how that all goes. We'll get to the other 2 matchups and 4 teams for the VBBFL in just a second, but first, let me tell you about our sponsors. It has been 2 years since we started Team Chaos Productions, and we would not be where we are today without the help of Anchor. You've heard us talk about it all the time, but let me remind you, this completely free platform gives creators the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your computer or phone. Once done, Anchor will distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more so you don't have to. You can also make some money on the episodes with no minimum listenership. It's everything you'd ever want in a podcasting platform, so download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Happy podcasting.
What makes Table Party different from other tabletop podcasts?
The music.
The setting.
The characters.
The gore.
A bunch of different games.
The refreshing coldness of ice cream.
The 300-foot tall squid named Delilah.
The dice rolls.
The horrifying body horror.
The aroma.
The suffering of my players.
Dairy Queen blizzards.
The luxurious plush texture.
The free coupons.
Bad decisions.
And who can we expect?
I'm Kelsey.
I'm Matt.
I'm Gabe.
I'm Walsh.
I'm Chris.
Welcome to the table party.
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 And welcome back.
Welcome back.
We are talking about the VBBFL, and we are about to go into the Western Conference. We're about to tell you a little bit about what's going on in that neck of the woods. How about you start this off here with the Brookings
Sure.
War Train?
Brookings War Train, drafted by last year's champion, Ricky.
Yes.
So we'll see if he's looking to repeat. We have Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho as our quarterback. Running backs are Cat Noir from Miraculous Ladybug and Kronk. You know who Kronk is. Our wide receivers are Min Min from ARMS and Speedy Gonzalez from Looney Tunes. Offensive line are Juggernaut and Eduardo from Foster's. The defense is Kano and Bowser, who are both returning defenders. Kano was on this team. Bowser was on Perth Amboy last year. And fucking Cheese from Foster. Still can't fucking believe that he drafted Cheese. And our kickers, Captain Tsubasa and Donkey from Shrek.
Yeah, I adore this team. Specifically the fact that to me, Cheese, there is so much potential for just character fuckery that we could do with the Brookings War Train. From Cheese to Kronk to me, and Eduardo.
It's gonna be great.
So many good things there.
Cheese is such a character.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have fun. Like we last year we had our Chaz McFreelys and our Eggmans, and we had our fun at the expense and also in the glory of the players on these teams. And I think there's a lot you could swing in either way with this team.
Yes.
I think we'll either bathe in their demise or in their glory. But yes, and then the stats for this one is -1 offense, 4 on defense, -3 on ball handling. So again, another defensive centric team. The two negative stats for ball handling and offense. So it will be intriguing to see how that all ends up. They will be facing in week 1 the Ketchikan Cosmos. That was drafted by Skylar. You may know Skylar from the game, from various appearances on the Game Coop and also in our table party ad read. This is her first year here, drafting. So it was very interesting seeing how she was going to do in her draft, and she nailed it. First up, she was the number 1 overall pick in this draft. She drafted Sugar Mama from the Proud Family.
The Proud Family.
And then that is at quarterback. The backup quarterback is Bob Parr, otherwise known as Mr. Incredible from The Incredibles. Then there's Aang from The Last Airbender and Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls. Wide receivers, Bugs Bunny from Looney Tunes and Jack, otherwise known as Big Boss from Metal Gear Solid. Offensive line is Helen Parr, or I guess, is it Mrs. Incredible or Elastigirl?
Yep, Elastigirl. Mrs. Incredible.
Yeah, there you go. That's Helen Parr. And then another offensive lineman, BoJack Horseman. And then defense, Cyborg from Teen Titans Go, Jorgen Von Strangle from Fairly Odd Parents. Is it Jorgen or Jorgen?
It's Jorgen.
It's Jorgen, okay.
Or maybe it's Jorgen. Either one.
Either one. And then Baymax from Big Hero 6 rounds out the defense. And then the kicker is Oscar Proud from the Proud Family. God, what a fucking roster.
It's wild, and I love it.
Yeah. Is
this an all animation group?
No,
Jack.
Big Boss. Big Boss is the only one I think from a video game. Everyone else is from animation, which I love, which is fantastic. I mean, we have a lot of people who either went full on video game or went full on animation, and so it's fun to see to see those balances there. Honestly, I feel like animation ended up dominating this draft just because of the added universe, just many more things that people probably could pick from.
Totally.
Probably was hinting at that. But this is probably our most balanced team of all the teams. 0 on offense, a 1 on defense, and a -1 ball handling. So I'm curious if that balance will help this team out. It certainly helped with the Blacksmiths last year having a more balanced team. Yeah, no, this is fascinating to me. To have this much balance is wild. Like I'm very curious to see, because we always end up with like a 2 or 3, -2, -3 or more, for at least one stat. The fact that it's completely flat like this is going to be very interesting. So this is going to be I think a more defensive game overall, because it is a 1 versus 4 for defense. But overall, you have Ketchikan maybe having the stronger offense but the weaker defense. Between Brookie's Board Train and Ketchikan Cosmos, it'll be interesting. I think this is the matchup I might put in our prime time slot, like our last game. Cool. I'm thinking about it. Because it's very intriguing, very interesting. All right, how about the last two teams here? You start us off here. The Provo Rock Squirrels.
All right, so this is Anthony's team, Provo. And Anthony has a good talent of picking characters who I know almost nothing about. So he has Zagreus as his quarterback from Hades, Zane and Timo as his running backs. His wide receivers are Adam Jensen, Volt, and Corvo. Offensive line, Kane and Brom. Defense is Armor Kane, which is Kane but with armor, and Darius. And then his kickers are Leon Kennedy and Eddie Gordo.
Yeah, this is maybe the more video game centric team.
In fact, I don't see any animation on this one.
Yeah, he went all in on the video game world still, which I like. We kept having a more of a balance there between the animation and video game there. So this is -1 on offense, 2 on defense, -1 on ball handling. But overall, like if you look at the roster, it's a lot of a mix of Borderlands and League of Legends. You have Adam Jensen from Deus Ex, and
got some Resident Evil in there.
Yeah, Resident Evil. Yeah. So you got a lot of interesting. Yeah, Tekken being a big thing too. Like there's a lot of very, very cool video games mixed into this one. And again, another team that you could look at, you could kind of compare to the Ketchikan Cosmos and being relatively balanced overall.
Pretty balanced, yeah.
Like the 2 on defense and just -1 for either set. Like I really think. I'm call my shot now, but I could be wrong because anything could happen. I feel like Ketchikan Cosmos and the Provo Rock Squirrels have the potential to be the favorites in this conference because of the balance. But we'll see, because it didn't work out last year when Mansfield with their dominant defense just steamrolled everyone. But the team that did beat them twice was the Chicago Blacksmiths. I think once at least, or twice.
Nope, twice.
Yeah, there you go. And then the Wauwatosa Fireflies, drafted by Kelsey. Kelsey, of course, you may know from Table Party and Gaming Coop, and also was the draftee of the Anaconda Mountaineers. Excuse me. You have here for this team quarterback Brain from Making in the Brain, and Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia. And then running back is Duolingo from the Duolingo app, which I think is fantastic. Wide receiver is Taylor from A Short Hike, and Pew Pew from Mulling and Pew Pew. Offensive line is the Great Fairy Kotera from Breath of the Wild, Detective Dandy Man from The Herbs, Sims in the City, and Tubbs from Neko Atsume. And then defense, Lady Dimitistru from Resident Evil Village, and Claude Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And then the kicker we have 2 kickers, Dee Dee from Dexter's Laboratory, and Spiderus Reeves from Little what is it called?
Miss
Spider.
Miss something, Miss Spider, and
Little Miss Spider. Fuck, I'm blanking on it. But just look up Spiderus Reeves, and you're gonna it's Miss Spider's Sunny Patch Friends. Fucking please Google that if you are new to this roster, have not heard of the term of the name Spiderus Reeves before. Please look it up. You'll be pleasantly surprised, I'm sure. This team has a -3 on offense, -5 on defense, and an 8 ball handling, our best ball handling stat of the bunch.
Yeah,
What's
this
your
is
thoughts on this squad?
A high risk, high reward team, I think. We saw kind of with Perth Amboy last year having like low offense, low defense, high ball handling work out well early and then falter later on.
Definitely.
So and it could just depend on schedule, but there is a chance of some variance here.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a stronger team for Kelsey this year because Anaconda. Anaconda had quite the year. Was just struggled a lot. I think was ended up being the loser of the Phoenix City game, right?
Yeah. Yep.
She ended up losing that, but she came back and won at least 1 or 2 games in the regular season after making a roster switch, and made it all the way to the semifinals in the playoffs. So I mean, we'll see if maybe drafting on the first try, she can get a really nice team going here. It's gonna be interesting, and she's going up against her husband.
Yes,
in the Provo Rock Squirrels in week 1, which is always fun. So
I definitely did that on purpose.
Yeah, it's fantastic. it's fantastic. So all that nonsense. If you're like, what the fuck's going on through this portion of the podcast, just tune in. You can tune in live on twitch.tv/Team Chaos Productions on Saturday. We'll give you a time at some point, probably early in the afternoon, or listen to the podcast on Sunday. I'll be posting it at noon on Sunday, right before the kickoff to the NFL. So you get a little bit of early football for you before the actual football starts. And again, it's not going to be a perfect thing. It's it may seem weird at times for us to try to like get into the groove of calling these games and talking about what's happening with these games, but I assure you, just stick around and listen to it if you want, because it's chaotic, it's bizarre, and it's a lot of fun for us as people who are fans of video games and animation to incorporate these characters in some capacity into a sport we really like.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we'll go into more details about locations and balls as well during that episode as well. But yeah, that's for Saturday. But for now, we got week 3 picks. All right, Matt, how about you get us started here for the first matchup?
Do we want to review last week first?
Oh yes, I always forgot to do that.
Yeah.
Of course you want me to review it anyway, because you went 13-3.
Listen, we have to do it. I also went 13-3 and got my chaos right.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. No, I'm just messing around. Yes, of course. It's 13-3 for Matt. He got his chaos right. He got his guarantee right. So that's 11 points to get him to his current record now is 21-11. 21-11 is his pick record now. He's sitting at 10 points just because he was sitting at -1 last week. So he's at 10 points overall. For me, didn't get my chaos right, but I got my guarantee right, which is a good start from last year because I remember just tanking the guarantees, if I remember correctly. 10-6 was the record for this week. I got 4 points, so now overall my record is 17-15, and I have just 1 point to show because of again how the records worked last week. So yeah, there you go. That's where we're at. Still, it's still too early to call like favorites, but
oh yeah,
you're definitely having you've beat me in both weeks thus far, so we'll see.
And I had a really, really good week too, and like with how we do things, like having a good week, like having 12+ in a week is really good.
This is the 1-year anniversary of my 16-0 run.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. That was it didn't even matter because you ended up winning it by a kind of blowout fashion. So, but like I had that 1 week and I was just
that 1 week of 16-0 we're probably never going to replicate.
I know that was amazing because it was what I remember it distinctly because of the fact that the last game was Saints versus Raiders. I was just like, there's no way. I picked the Raiders as a team chaos. There's no way this is gonna work out for me. And sure fucking enough, the Raiders won that game, and I was just like, well, there you go. Just the magic's on our side. Let's see if we go 16-0 this week. You start us off.
All right, the Carolina Panthers 2-0 take on the 1-1 Houston Texans. Texans without Tyrod Taylor, their starting quarterback, and Carolina on a decent streak, surprising most people. Do you think any other surprises will happen in this game?
Texans have been so weird and so hard to predict, but I can't pick against the Panthers on the run right now. This is the last team that you want to lose to right now. I think the Panthers are gonna go 3-0, so I'm going with them.
I'm also going with the Panthers. Keep fucking pounding. I am very excited for this team. For those of you who don't know, I am a Bears fan, but the Panthers are my number 2. So let's go Panthers.
There you go. Next up, the Washington football team at the Buffalo Bills. Intriguing game. Washington football team's defense has not been quite what we were hoping they would be coming into the season. So that's interesting. And the Bills are bounced back, but if the Washington football team defense does play at any sort of elite level that we thought they would, maybe the Bills could be in trouble. What do you think's going to happen?
I still feel way too confident with the Bills' offense, especially compared to Washington's offense. And with how the Buffalo dealt with a backup quarterback last week, I think that Terrell Heineke is better than Brissett, but I also see the Bills having a pretty easy win with this game, so I'll stick with the Bills.
I'm gonna go with the Bills as well. I've been hyping up the Washington football team, but their defense again, like they let Daniel Jones just deal some shit, during that Thursday night football game. And not this, I know people are high on Daniel Jones or getting higher on him because of what happened in that Thursday night football game. So we'll see if Washington can at all start to get some sort of momentum going on the defensive side of the ball. But I think the Bills are just a hard team to do that against. So go with Bills.
Alrighty. Next up, the Chicago Bears coming off their first win with likely a rookie Justin Fields starting are going to take on the Cleveland Browns. Both teams are 1-1. It is in Cleveland. What do you think is going to happen?
Cleveland's not like off to this hot start here, but I think I still have faith in this team that they're a all around decent playoff contender. That I think that they're gonna do well against the Bears. I'm not very confident in the Bears right now. We've talked about it. Matt Nagy's decision making is kind of not maybe not necessarily in game, but also yes, maybe in game. Is I think my biggest sticking point right now with the Bears. I'm gonna go with the Browns.
In most circumstances, I would go with the Browns, but because we have to pick an upset, I am going to go with the Bears. I'm going to believe in the future. Justin Fields is going to have the game of his fucking life. Please continue to start him if he does. Team chaosing the Bears, don't feel confident about it.
Fair. Respect. Next up, the Ravens at the Lions. The Ravens, my goodness. We thought they were dead in the water and they got resurrected in the Chiefs game. And now they get to go against the Lions, who I think showed us their ass on Monday Night Football. What do you think is going to happen here?
Ravens are going to have a nice game. This is an easy pick. I'm going with the Ravens as well. I mean, and maybe the injuries may catch up to them in a weird game like this. I don't know, but I have too much faith now in what Lamar Jackson can do and what John Harbaugh can do as a coach to pick them against the knee biters. So going with them. Yep. All right, Indianapolis Colts take on the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans came back last week. Indianapolis Colts potentially without Carson Wentz. Does that affect your opinion on this game at all?
I think whether or not Carson Wentz is starting is a non-factor for my pick here. The Titans are back. They've been resurrected. Seems like they got into a groove in the second half of the Seahawks game and went on to win it. And I think the Colts they're beat up, and regardless of who starts at quarterback, I just don't think they're in the right place right now as an organization. So, going Titans.
I'm also going Titans.
There you go. Next up, the Los Angeles Chargers at Kansas City Chiefs. All right, it's Herbert, it's Mahomes. I believe their third meeting together.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah, could maybe their second.
Two meetings last year.
Yeah. I just forget if it was Tyrod that started for the Chiefs for their first game. But regardless, intriguing matchup, fun matchup. Both teams sitting at 1-1 at the bottom half of the AFC West, which is still wild. What do you think's gonna happen here?
Man, I believe in the Chiefs too much. I think the Chargers are a good team. It was a close loss to Dallas, but the Chiefs are better than Dallas.
Yep.
And the Chiefs are going to definitely want to bounce back and try to solidify themselves. So I'm going Chiefs easy.
Yeah, this is probably the only time I can say this with like not feeling like I'm doing it. I'm being like being cheap about it. I'm guaranteeing the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I can.
Yeah, because like to me,
okay
like this is a game that I can especially with the way they ended up losing that game on Sunday, how they just could not stop the run, and they were just having, they were great on offense, but their defense was definitely giving up too many points. I can absolutely see the Chargers winning this game, but I'm going to guarantee the Chiefs, also as payback for me picking the Chargers this past week and losing that game. So yeah, Chiefs guarantee.
Nice. All right, next up is the Saints and the Patriots. Pretty split game. Both Saints coming off of a pretty bad loss to Carolina. Patriots coming off of a Jets win. And, I mean, it's the Jets. What are you going to do? What do you think is going to happen in this matchup?
Intriguing game. Probably one of the harder ones for me to pick, just because I think that there's you can make an argument either way, right, based off of the first 2 weeks. I think I'm going to lean towards the Patriots, just because I think that Mac Jones has played relatively well through about two weeks. Nothing out of this world, but good enough to get his team wins. And I think that the Saints injuries are gonna still kind of linger. That ultimately, I think the Patriots are gonna get the win.
I think that the Saints, for playing a game in Jacksonville, have inherited the up and down nature of Jacksonville from a few years ago.
Sure.
And so they're going to they had a great week 1, horrible week 2, so they're gonna have a great week 3 and be the Patriots.
Okay.
That's my really stupid reason I mentioned earlier.
Sure. All right. Hey, I like it. I like it a lot. There you go. Next up, oh Jesus Christ, the Atlanta Falcons at the New York Giants. Both teams sitting at 0-2. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, what unit do you feel most confident in with this game? Because otherwise, it's kind of a disaster. What do you think is going to happen?
Let me check one thing real quick.
Okay. Are you looking into injury situations?
Not really. I might. This is a potential, I might change this one to a lock just to be stupid.
Sure.
I'm going to pick the Giants here, actually.
Okay. Are you guaranteeing
it? If you won't let me guarantee the one that I want to guarantee, then I will guarantee this one.
Okay.
If not, then I'll guarantee the one that I want to guarantee.
Okay. All right. Well, I have faith in whatever you're doing. So
okay.
I'm also going to pick the Giants. I did not think I was going to ever pick the Giants, because just to stand by the heart, the stay lying on the hill that I want to die on. But I don't know. The Giants just look more interesting through 2 weeks than the Falcons at the moment. So I'm gonna go with Giants.
All right. Cincinnati Bengals take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Both teams 1-1, because everyone in this division is 1-1. Bengals doing pretty decent against some decent defenses. But will their offensive line be able to stand up to Pittsburgh? Or will they have some fun with Pittsburgh's offensive line as well? What do you think is going to happen?
Steelers' offense has looked terrible for 2 weeks. There's just nothing that I think could really spark this team. And if TJ Watt is out on Sunday, which is a big factor at the moment.
I didn't realize that. Oops.
Yeah, he has a groin injury.
My groin.
So that I don't know if they're saying that he has a chance to play, which could happen. I'm back down on the Steelers, because they're doing exactly what I expected them to do this year, which is have a good defense, but have an offense that's just fine, doesn't really do anything special, and then just it ends up just kind of collapsing for them. I'm gonna team chaos the Bengals. I don't care. I'm fucking doing it. So let's do it.
All right, fucking hell, I'm gonna lock the Steelers.
Oh, there is not even any fanfare with this.
Fucko.
It's our super fucko.
First super fucko of the year, which is when one of us locks against the other's chaos.
Yeah.
I can definitely see the Bengals winning. But I think that I worry about just the Bengals O-line in general. I do think that the Bengals offense is pretty good though.
Yeah. It's. I'm glad to be on the. One thing that we always say about these fuckos is that you're good. It's good to be on the chaos side of these, because even if you lose, it's not like you don't get hurt too badly by it. Whereas if you lose the guarantee, it's a lot worse because of the
much worse.
Yeah, because of the point losses and then the point gained by the person who did the team chaos. But I like it. I think part of me does want to push back on it, but the Bengals have played pretty decently through 2 weeks that like I feel like it's still too early for me to be like, no, you can't do this.
And plus you're chaosing them, so I feel like the reciprocal should be allowed.
Exactly.
When that happens.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I totally agree on that front. So there you go. Next up, the Cardinals at Jaguars. The Cardinals are playing amazing football. The Jaguars are doing the exact opposite. What do you have?
Arizona.
It sounded like you were just about to. You sound like Joe Biden and about to give a speech.
Probably did, but Arizona is a really, really good football team, Chris. Arizona. Ice tea. They're gonna ice the Jaguars.
Yeah,
or something.
They're gonna turn those fur coats of the Jaguars into fucking coasters around the Arizona iced tea, you know, or the cozies, I should say.
Koozies.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm going with the Cardinals as well.
Yeah, this is a very easy pick.
Yep.
All right, New York Jets at the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos 2-0 against the New York Jets team with the quarterback who threw a lot of interceptions against a good defense. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, he's playing a good defense.
Broncos are gonna be 3-0, man. I mean, they're sneaky. They're sneaky good.
Yeah, they're sneaky good, but also like these are all like matchups that like you would kind of expect them to win.
Sure, 100%.
Because it's been Giants, Jaguars, and now Jets. Like they have an easy start to the year. I would love to see it keep going though.
Yeah,
it would be very interesting to see it keep going. But 3-0 makes sense.
I think Week 4 is going to be interesting because you got Broncos versus Ravens. So that they'll be hosting the Ravens here. This is but this is their first time home after like a East Coast road. Like that was 2 games on like the furthest away points that you could be from Denver. Yeah. So the fact that they won as impressively as they did in both of those games, I think they're going to be interesting this year. I think they're going to get something intriguing here with the Denver Broncos. I'm picking them as well.
Very nice. All right. Let's see.
I think I'm next.
I think we messed up the order. You are next.
Yeah, Miami Dolphins at Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are 2-0, which is not, again, something I was not at all predicting whatsoever. Going up against the Dolphins team that I think is still evaluating whether or not Tua is going to play, unless Tua went on IR and I did not see that.
I don't think he's on IR, but I also don't think that he is going to play.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's a bit up in the air. I think it's more about like pain management at this point. Can he handle playing?
If he does play, it definitely won't be 100%.
Yeah, what do you think's going to happen in this game?
Oh, the Raiders are going to continue their legendary win streak and go 17-0.
No, you're just gonna call that shot now.
You're gonna call that shot now. You heard it here first. Raiders 17-0.
There you go. I will go with the Raiders as well. I was like, I could chaos the Dolphins, but with Tua and also the fact that I chaosed the Dolphins last week, I was like, all right, let's give the Raiders a chance here. I'll pick the Raiders.
Yeah.
All
right. Sunday Night Football. You got
not Sunday. This is not Sunday Night Football.
It's not Sunday Night Football. You got the this would be a good Sunday night matchup. You got the Buccaneers versus the Rams. Both teams playing very, very good football. Good defense, good offense, This has a just high scoring game written all fucking over it. Who will come out victorious?
Yeah, I would prefer this game over the current Sunday Night Football matchup.
Yes.
This is the toughest game to pick this week. I know I shouldn't pick against the Bucs, but I really do like the Rams. Want to see them win this one. See them kind of maybe knock the champs off. And I think it's more of want them picking the Rams. I think as good as both sides of the ball is for the Bucs, I feel like the Rams, I think, had like a close game with the Bucs last year, and I just feel like the Rams could like come in now that especially since they're hosting the game. I think they could find a way to overcome the Bucs. So I'm going Rams here.
They're hosting the game. The Stafford to Cooper Kupp connection is something legendary, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary is not good.
It's not legendary.
It's not legendary. I'm gonna go with the Rams here, and Cooper Kupp is going to be like Cooper Kupp and Stafford connection might be the best quarterback to wide receiver connection this year.
Damn. Yeah.
That's gonna be my other bold prediction of the day.
Yeah, I like it. This is such a hard game though. It's such a hard game to pick, but I'm with you. Seattle Seahawks at the Minnesota Vikings. Rough loss for the Seahawks. Rough loss for the Vikings. Vikings don't even have a win yet this year. Can they get it against Seattle, Matt?
See, it should feel closer than it is just because of how close the Vikings have played things this year.
Yes.
But I don't think the Vikings have a Derrick Henry. Dalvin Cook is great. Dalvin Cook is not Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So I think the Seahawks will still get it done against the Vikings, but this isn't as much of a lock as the pick percentage is making it out to be.
Yeah, I am definitely going Seattle. I think what's killing the Vikings is not even so much their offense, it's their defense. Their defense has just been terrible this year. They let the Bengals and Cardinals run all over them, and I feel like Seattle just has that arsenal that could potentially do the same thing to the Vikings. I think this Vikings team goes 0-3. I think that the fire beneath Mike Zimmer's seat really becomes a flame with this one.
I can agree with that.
So yeah, Seattle.
All right. Green Bay Packers take on San Francisco 49ers in Sunday Night Football. This is our matchup.
Yes.
Green Bay bounced back after their awful Week 1. San Francisco manages to win against the Eagles Week 2. Both teams have managed to defeat the Lions.
Yeah, that's
there
hard
you go.
to tame them.
They tamed the Lions. Who's going to win this game?
Definitely the hardest challenge that the 49ers have had on their schedule to date, but kind of similar to how the Chiefs for a long time were the sticking we're going to be always stick it to the Ravens up until this year. In terms there's teams that you just suck against, and the Packers suck against the 49ers. And I think with the way that the Packers have started this year, granted, great Monday Night Football game, great bounce back game for them, but I think I'm going to go with the 49ers because I think that Kyle Shanahan just has Matt LaFleur wrapped around his finger and just absolutely has a game plan for Green Bay every single time they play. So go with 49ers.
Yeah, I'm also going with the 49ers. I feel really confident in their offense, and they have a decent defense as well. Worried about injuries in their running game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like their offense.
Yeah. And last but not least, the Philadelphia Eagles at Dallas Cowboys, an NFC East matchup that might be pretty big. I mean, it's early on, but could decide who's leading the pack, because Washington has a tough matchup earlier in the day.
Yeah.
So it could be who ends up leading after week 3. What do you think's going to happen?
I feel super confident with Dallas. I have been for a while. They're despite the Mike McCarthyisms, I still think that Dak is a great quarterback. By the way, Dak only getting fucking 7 fantasy points and winning the game fucking blew my mind, and I did not like it. I was not a fan of how few points Dak scored.
Well, it's Tony Pollard, man. Tony Pollard just took over that game.
Yeah. Yeah. But Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the boys too. I good on the Eagles. They look competitive through first 2 weeks, even despite losing to the 49ers, like the fact that they were kind of sneakily trying to make that game close was interesting. But I think it's going to be a close game. Like I don't think this is like a blowout necessarily for the Cowboys, but I think the Cowboys take care of it.
Cool.
Cool. It's just the rule of 3s with us, huh?
I guess so.
Yeah, so the 3 disagreements, just to recap, is the Bears-Browns game. Bears were chaosed by Matt. We also have the Saints-Patriots, just a normal split there.
And then we have a super fucko with your chaos.
Yeah, we have a super fucko. You guarantee the Steelers. I chaos the Bengals. So there you go. No other disagreements, right? I don't think that there was anything else.
I think just those 3.
Perfect. All right. Well, that will do it for us. And again, this Saturday we'll be filming our next episode live. It'll be VBBFL Week 1, completely our 4 games streamed live. You'll just listen to us if you're interested in tabletop stuff and like listening to tabletop, roles and all that kind of stuff. You might be interested if you just like hearing us talk. You can listen to us listen live on Saturday, and of course the episode itself will go live on Sunday on our podcast platforms. Same feed, yes. Nothing different there. And of course next week we'll be back next Wednesday with another episode recapping what happened in week 3, looking ahead to week 4, and I don't know what the mid segment will be. Maybe we'll start killing off some teams, through week 3.
Oh yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
I think we usually do that week 4.
Yeah, we could hold off on that. I don't know. Yeah. We got ideas. There's plenty of different directions we can go with it. So we'll see what happens. But thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Good night, and good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys, and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.